In the high-stakes chess game of World War II, information was power, and deception a deadly weapon. The Nazis had an intricate spy network across Europe, but they were blindsided by a unit that didn't just fight, it lied. They were the Masters of Illusion, a top-secret American unit, officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. Their job? To impersonate entire divisions, 30,000 men strong, using nothing but rubber, sound, and pure artistic flair. For over 50 years, their story remained buried in classified files. This is the real untold story of how a handful of artists, engineers, and actors pulled off one of the greatest military bluffs in history, saving thousands of lives and helping win the war. The genesis of deception. The idea for the Ghost Army wasn't born from battle plans, but from a desperate need for a new kind of warfare. Inspired by British deception tactics in North Africa, U.S. Army planners realized that if they could confuse the enemy about where their forces were, they could gain a critical advantage. Activated in January 1944, the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops was the first mobile, multimedia tactical deception unit in U.S. Army history, comprising around 1,100 men, many recruited from art schools, advertising agencies, and technical professions. Their mission was unique: to literally stage a traveling road show of deception across Europe. The tools of illusion. The Ghost Army's arsenal was unlike anything the world had ever seen. While most military units relied on rifles, artillery, and tanks, this unit carried paintbrushes, phonographs, inflatable rubber, and radio transmitters. Their weapons were not designed to kill, but to deceive. Visual deception was the most striking. Imagine a battlefield dotted with tanks, artillery, and trucks, all seemingly ready for combat. Yet, upon closer inspection, these machines were nothing but air and rubber. Inflatable Sherman tanks, jeeps, and even aircraft were produced in American factories, often by women who stitched and sealed the rubber seams with the same care they gave to children's toys. Soldiers of the Ghost Army would inflate these massive decoys in hours, creating the illusion of a formidable armored division. To make the deception convincing, they added details: fake tire tracks pressed into the mud, empty shell casings scattered around, and camouflage nets draped over the rubber hulks. Sonic deception added another layer. Engineers recorded the sounds of tanks rumbling, trucks grinding gears, and soldiers shouting commands. These recordings were blasted through giant speakers mounted on half-tracks. The sound carried for miles, tricking German reconnaissance into believing an entire division was on the move. At night, villagers near the front lines often swore they heard hundreds of tanks rolling past, when in reality, only a handful of Ghost Army trucks were parked nearby. Radio deception was equally ingenious. Skilled operators mimicked authentic radio traffic of real divisions. They copied call signs, repeated chatter, and even staged fake arguments over the airwaves. German intelligence, which relied heavily on intercepted communications, often fell for these illusions, believing entire divisions had shifted positions. Finally, special effects deception tied everything together. Soldiers built fake headquarters, complete with signposts, laundry lines, and dummy sentries. Convoys of trucks drove in endless loops to simulate troop movements. Even small details like painting insignias on vehicles or staging fake artillery drills added credibility. Together, these four pillars created a theater of war unlike any other. The Ghost Army wasn't just fighting, they were performing. Every battlefield became a stage, every soldier an actor, and every illusion a masterpiece of survival. The European stage. The Ghost Army arrived in Europe shortly after D-Day in June 1944. Their mission was clear: to confuse, mislead, and ultimately save lives by keeping German forces chasing shadows. Over the course of the war, they conducted 22 major deceptions across France, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Germany. One of their earliest contributions was tied to Operation Fortitude, the grand deception that convinced Hitler the Allied invasion would strike Pas-de-Calais instead of Normandy. While the British masterminded the operation, the Ghost Army later carried out tactical missions that kept German divisions guessing. In France, the unit staged elaborate illusions to protect advancing American forces. At Brest, they created the impression of a massive armored column preparing to attack, forcing the Germans to divert reinforcements. At Metz, they simulated artillery positions, complete with fake guns and booming sound effects, tricking the enemy into wasting ammunition on empty fields. The soldiers lived under constant pressure. Discovery meant disaster. If German scouts realized the tanks were rubber, the illusion would collapse. Yet the Ghost Army thrived on creativity. They painted insignias overnight, staged fake mess halls, and even impersonated officers in local towns to spread misinformation. German intelligence reports later revealed the extent of their success. Commanders often believed they faced 2 or 3 times the actual number of Allied divisions. This confusion allowed real American units to maneuver with less resistance, cutting weeks off campaigns and saving thousands of lives. The European stage was not just about deception, it was about courage. These men carried no heavy weapons. If attacked, they had little defense. Their survival depended entirely on the strength of their illusions. The masterpiece at Bettenberg. September 1944 marked the Ghost Army's most ambitious operation. General George S. Patton's Third Army faced a dangerous gap along the Moselle River near Bettenberg, Luxembourg. The line was undermanned, vulnerable to German attack. If the enemy exploited the weakness, thousands of American lives could be lost. The Ghost Army was ordered to impersonate the 6th Armored Division. Just 400 men had to simulate 8,000 troops. They rose to the challenge. Rubber tanks lined the fields, their silhouettes convincing even from aerial reconnaissance. Trucks drove in endless circles, raising dust clouds that suggested massive troop movements. Loudspeakers roared with the sounds of engines and artillery. Radio operators filled the airwaves with chatter, mimicking the 6th Division's communication style. For over a week, the illusion held. German scouts reported a formidable American force guarding the Moselle. Believing the line secure, they diverted resources elsewhere. When the real 83rd Division arrived, they faced minimal resistance. The success at Bettenberg was more than tactical, it was symbolic. It proved that deception could be as powerful as firepower. The Ghost Army had saved lives not by killing, but by convincing the enemy to retreat from shadows. Legacy and recognition. The Ghost Army's impact is difficult to measure, but historians estimate their deceptions saved 15,000 to 30,000 Allied lives. Yet for decades, their story remained hidden. Classified files kept their achievements secret until 1996. Many veterans returned home, never speaking of their service. Some became famous: fashion designer Bill Blass, artist Ellsworth Kelly, but their wartime roles as deception specialists were unknown. Families often learned the truth only after declassification. In 2022, after years of advocacy, the Ghost Army was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. Surviving members, now elderly, stood proudly as their unconventional heroism was finally recognized. Speeches honored their creativity, courage, and the lives they saved. Their legacy endures as a reminder that war is not only fought with guns and bombs, sometimes it is fought with imagination. The Ghost Army proved that art, sound, and illusion could be weapons as powerful as steel. Today, military academies study their tactics. Documentaries and books celebrate their ingenuity. Their story inspires not only soldiers, but artists, engineers, and storytellers, showing that creativity can change the course of history.